Hey guys, Nick Green here with BehaviorFit, and today's video I'm going to show you how to best think about your exercise minutes and your gym attendance data. It seems kind of intuitive when you think about it, but when I start breaking down my actual data from the past month, we'll see, there's a lot of nuances in there, and I hope it'll help you out in your kind of fitness journey. And just kind of start off here. It's important to think about, like, again, my three buckets here. There's three different ways to be successful when it comes to reaching your fitness goals. Do we need more movement? Are we learning a new skill? Is that skill development? Or is it some piece of applied performance? Now, today's video, it's really going to fall into this applied performance category. Now, before I move into the data analysis piece, I just kind of listed out 5 questions here to look at how we need to approach this question when it comes to tracking that duration, how many minutes we have out there. So first question, how do we need to monitor those exercise minutes, right? How are we going to easily capture those data? What are the general recommendations? I need to figure out, am I meeting my goal? Where are those exercise minutes coming from? We'll dive into that a little bit, and then how effective is my gym time? And I have some caveats here. But question number 1 here: how to monitor those data. I'm going to go ahead and jump over here to the spreadsheet. So again, I have the Apple Watch. So what I did, I looked at on the Health app. Again, not as intuitive. Let me go ahead and move that back here. It's not intuitive to grab the data, but I did that ahead of time before the video. So how do we monitor these exercise minutes? We need to go into the app, look at the data. We could pop them into a spreadsheet. We just track the exercise minutes by day. These are the the exercise minutes when they on the little bar graphs. I also tracked with Wodify. You've seen a previous video. I just tracked ones here. Did I go to the gym? And then we're going to get into these other data here. So how do I monitor these exercise minutes? I used Wodify and the Apple Watch data. All right. Question 2. What are the general recommendations when it comes to exercise and health and fitness? Good rule of thumb, a lot of research out there. It's all about that 150 minutes per week. Now, when it comes to 150 minutes per week, it's all about elevating that heart rate. So it's the research terms are moderate vigorous activity. So you have your baseline heart rate, and you want to elevate it 150 minutes on average each week. So it breaks down to something simple like exercising 5 times for 30 minutes each week. All right, am I meeting my goal? So now let's go ahead and look at the fun data. So put the pencil over there. So I have my minutes here. I look at each week here, Sunday through Saturday. You look at I worked out 3 times a week here, 5. This is over the holidays, 4 and 3 here. So I got my total exercise minutes. Right? We grabbed the exercise minutes. Now what I also did was looking at that gym time. So we look at how many of those minutes came from times I went to the gym, and I did that for each week. Right? So now, let's go ahead and look at that in a graph. Where'd my graphs go? There they are. All right, so now we'll look at this first chart right here. Exercise minutes the past 4 weeks here, January 2020 back to December 2019. I put this red line here just to look at, make an emphasis of, am I meeting those 150-minute recommendations? So the past 3 weeks, yes. Just 1 minute over in the past week. Week 1 back in December, I did not. So the past 3 weeks, good. I met my goal, or I met the goal related to recommendation. So we'll pop that on my questions there. Now, question 4: where are the exercise minutes coming from? So here, this is kind of a unique feature with any kind of wearable, is that you either have minutes that you start logging in with a workout that you're doing, or even if you don't start a workout, you still get kind of those natural exercise minutes. So what I did was I looked at what were those minutes that I took from the gym. So I counted up here. Let me back up. I only counted the minutes then that mapped on to my gym attendance. Again, I pulled that directly from the app. how many of these minutes came from the gym. So 79 out of 115 minutes during that first week was that gym time. So I did that for each of the 4 weeks. And so this is that next the next chart. So when you put these, no, hang on a second, that's not right. Let me go to this one. So where do my minutes come from? So the gym, so this was kind of interesting to me. I was surprised when I began looking at the data. So of all the exercise minutes that I accumulated over the past month, we only have, let's pop some data labels in here so we can see it. We'll make them white so they stand out a little bit more. All right, so we have really just over 2/3 to 3/4 of my time, the exercise minutes, come from the gym. All the other minutes, all the other ones, we can just do the same thing here, and we'll make these data labels white. So you can see, really, we're getting 1/4 to 1/3 from other life activities, and so that's kind of interesting. That's your daily walks. You could be going up and down the stairs, carrying heavy groceries if you do that. So that's how to think about where did they come from. So for me, the minutes, I'd say about 3/4 from the gym, and then 1/4 from life. There we go. Now the last question: how effective is my gym time? So now I want to look at, okay, on average, where we go here, average gym time. Let's say you go there for an hour each day. How many of those minutes are actually spent elevating that heart rate? Because that's the name of the game. Doesn't matter what you do in general. To get the health benefits, you want to maximize. You want to be efficient with that time there. So this is where I looked at my gym time, percent of that time that my heart rate was elevated. So what I did was I took, what did I do here? I took, 19 minutes, and then I just divided it by 60 to get this elevated time, and I color-coded it here. So green, so those would be the workouts where my heart rate was the most elevated, so to speak, during that 1 hour, and then red was I was at the gym, but my heart rate was not as elevated. So then when you map all those out, we see really it's all about how much your heart rate is moving, or how elevated your heart rate is when you are in the gym. So you kind of see up and down here some trends. So each of these dates here, that's one workout time. So something I started on my watch, and then I recorded the time there. So did that make sense? So that was any time that I started a workout on my watch, and then I did the movement, the workout, the activity, and my heart rate was elevated. So the percent of that time, those workouts, then that my heart rate was elevated. So I just kind of made up a term. I called this the gym utilization factor. So in theory, right, you could go to the gym 3 hours every day, but if you don't elevate your heart rate, it's going to be zeros down here. So it's just interesting to see how you can have some workouts you're super high elevated. We might think about how often do we want a red line, right? How much time are we spending each gym session to are we elevated? So that's why I just kind of made up there that gym utilization factor. So how effective is the gym time? It just kind of depends here. Really just kind of depends on many factors. But we can see, I was surprised that you do really about half the time, so about 30 minutes of my time in each workout, right? The average is going to be about here, is when my heart rate is elevated. And on the bottom here, that's all I have for the graphs. Just a couple things to consider when we're looking at these these exercise minutes data. The first one here, again, the data that I pulled in, not all my activities are recorded, so I might have forgot to start my watch on a couple movements. A lot of the times I don't start a workout when I'm lifting, when I'm doing like back squats or something like that, because there's no workout function for that really, and even then it's just a different type of workout movement. So not all the activities are recorded, so my findings are kind of limited to what's already in my apps. Number two, again, I made a point of this on the forthcoming Behavioral Observations podcast with Matt Sikoria. It's January 12th right now. It's not out right now, but if you watch this video later, go look for the podcast. So we have these general recommendations of 150 minutes, right, 10,000 steps, things like that. So you can meet those recommendations, but we don't know how well you're moving, how how well those, that's just one score, right? We don't know if you can do a push-up. We don't know if, how well your squats, going. We don't know how well you can, we don't even know what your running form looks like. So it's important to look at, to remember that we have the heart rate data, we have the step data, but that's only just one metric. There's more to look at. And number two, again, getting back to that recommendation here of 150 minutes, that's for moderate vigorous physical activity. The second recommendation is, or an additional recommendation is 75 minutes of vigorous activity. So that's super high elevated heart rate. So getting back to my exercise minutes here, right? So we have each of my exercise minutes. We don't know like what the breakdown is. Like this could have been, right, if we look at this 45 minutes right here. So we'll just say, okay, this 45 minutes, we don't know if that was, 15 minutes of moderate, elevated activity, and then 30, right? We don't know if 59 here, this was the 12 days of Christmas workout. I felt like I was super elevated, vigorous the whole time. So that, that could have been 60 of 75, and I pretty much met my recommendations for the week. So there's all these little caveats in there. So just a couple different things to look at. So just to kind of review, how do I monitor my exercise minutes with the apps? Track as much as you can. Even this quick little analysis, a lot of data in there. It still took me a good 20 minutes to figure it out. Why? Because my Apple Watch data, anybody's Apple Watch data, are not easy to grab. What are the general recommendations? You get 150 a week if it's MVPA. Am I meeting my goal? Hey, I lucked out here. The data doesn't lie. I am meeting my goal. So for me, again, it's not about compliance and showing up to the gym. It's about maximizing my time while I'm there. Where are my exercise minutes coming from? Again, 3/4 gym time, quarter of life activities. That was interesting. And how effective is my gym time? Really just kind of depends. That comes down to individual program. And that's all I have for today's episode. I hope you learned a lot. Give me comments. Give me a shout out. Email me. But till next time, keep moving.